We hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time of their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Yeah. Would you say you lost your mind, sort of?
No.
No.
Not exactly.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy, but it's incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
And I feel like in a lot of instances, I was deliberately being put through stress.
The entertainment world was shaken after news broke of Shannon Sharpe's arrest, but the story took an even bigger turn when Dave Chappelle decided to speak on it. Known for his fearless honesty and deep cultural insight, Dave's response wasn't what anyone expected. It wasn't a joke, and it wasn't a roast. It was raw, introspective, and hit a nerve across the entertainment community.
But my career, it has happened many, many times since, where someone would intimidate me or scare me and take something that I believe was mine. Get between somebody and their paper. Taking a man's livelihood away from him is akin to killing him.
As the internet went wild with rumors, memes, and debates over what really happened with Shannon, Chappelle stepped in with a message that turned the conversation upside down. What made his take so powerful wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. Calm, deliberate, and piercing, Chappelle's breakdown of the situation sounded less like a comedian reacting to gossip and more like a man calling out the deeper truths of fame, loyalty, and hypocrisy in modern culture. The timing couldn't have been more perfect or more controversial. Shannon Sharpe's arrest had already split social media down the middle. Some defended him, calling it a setup or misunderstanding, while others claimed it was proof that fame doesn't make anyone untouchable. For days, fans, sports commentators, and celebrity blogs argued over the details. Then Dave Chappelle entered the conversation, not through a podcast or talk show, but in an unscripted moment during a small live performance in Los Angeles. According to attendees, he paused midway through his set, looked at the crowd, and said, "We love our heroes until they're human." That single line immediately went viral. Within hours, clips of it flooded every major platform, sparking debates about what he really meant and whether he was defending or exposing Shannon Sharpe.
Just in, the Texas attorney who targeted Sean Diddy Combs with dozens of civil lawsuits on behalf of John and Jane Doe's allegedly victimized by the music mogul has a new target in his sights. NFL legend Shannon.
To understand the weight of Dave's comment, it helps to know how he's always approached topics like this. Chappelle has built his reputation not just on humor, but on social commentary that cuts through the noise. He's the kind of voice who turns celebrity drama into cultural reflection. So when he spoke about Shannon, it wasn't about the arrest itself. It was about what the public does after someone they admire falls from grace. He didn't excuse the behavior, nor did he condemn it. Instead, he used the moment to ask why the culture celebrates Black excellence, but refuses to allow space for imperfection. It wasn't a defense of Shannon, it was a mirror held up to everyone watching. In his speech, Chappelle reportedly said something that stopped the room cold. "We don't protect our own until they're gone. We turn mistakes into entertainment." It was a statement that resonated far beyond Sharpe's situation. Fans started dissecting it as a commentary on the media machine that profits off downfall, how the same outlets that build celebrities up are the first to tear them down. And in Shannon's case, the irony was heavy. A man known for inspiring hard work, success, and resilience suddenly became the center of mockery overnight. Dave's message wasn't about guilt or innocence, it was about the way society eats its own for clicks, ignoring the complexity behind human mistakes. Whether you agreed with Chappelle or not, one thing was clear. He had reframed the entire story. What was once trending as Shannon Sharpe arrested was now trending as Dave Chappelle speaks truth. His words reminded people that behind every scandal, headline is a person, not just a punchline. And once again, Dave proved that his voice carries the kind of authority that makes even the loudest rumors go quiet.
Most would have to run the streets for years to learn a lesson that profound. It took me 2 seconds. Never get between somebody and their paper.
Shannon Sharpe.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony.
As the clip of Dave's comments spread, reactions poured in from every corner of the internet. Some praised him for showing empathy in a culture obsessed with humiliation, while others accused him of downplaying serious allegations. But one thing nobody could deny, Dave had shifted the tone of the entire conversation. What started as another round of celebrity scandal had suddenly become a debate about accountability versus compassion. Social media users began comparing Chappelle's remarks to his previous comments about fame and morality, noting that this time he seemed more philosophical than comedic. It wasn't the voice of a man cracking jokes. It was the voice of someone who's seen what fame does to people and wanted to warn others about its dangers. Meanwhile, the details surrounding Shannon Sharpe's arrest remained murky. Official statements were limited, and the narrative kept changing depending on the outlet. Some said it was a misunderstanding with law enforcement, others hinted at deeper issues. But in the absence of clear facts, the internet filled the gaps with speculation. Dave's words landed in the middle of that chaos like a reality check. Instead of focusing on what Shannon did or didn't do, people started asking why the public reaction was so extreme. Why does society love to see public figures crumble? Why does redemption always take a backseat to ridicule? In one part of his talk, Chappelle reportedly brought up the pattern he's seen his entire career, how entertainers are built into symbols, not people. "We make gods out of men," he said, "then punish them for being human." That hit home for many. It wasn't lost on anyone that Chappelle himself had walked away from fame at the height of his career because of the same system he was describing. He'd seen what happens when the spotlight turns into a weapon. And now, years later, he was watching that same cycle consume someone else, this time a sports and media figure with a respected legacy.
Completely outside of my frame of reference. I've been in show business since I was 14, and I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay. When you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see before, look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to kill me."
Some fans interpreted Dave's comments as subtle advice to Shannon, a warning not to let the headlines define him. Others saw it as a broader critique of cancel culture. Either way, the message was clear. The culture has become addicted to destruction. Every week, there's a new scandal, a new downfall, a new celebrity to dissect, and while audiences claim they want accountability, what they really want is spectacle. Chappelle's refusal to play into that narrative made his response stand out even more. Instead of pointing fingers, he pointed out the system. Industry insiders also weighed in, saying that Dave's comments carried extra weight because of who they were coming from. He's not just a comedian, he's a cultural truth teller, someone who's earned the right to speak without bias. When he talks, the industry listens. And in this case, he wasn't defending Shannon out of friendship. He was dissecting the bigger picture. "Dave doesn't speak unless it's bigger than the moment," one commentator said. This wasn't about Shannon Sharpe. This was about what we do to our heroes. In the aftermath, even people who disagreed with Dave's perspective admitted one thing. He made everyone think deeper about how easily the public flips on its icons. For many, it was a wake-up call. Not about Shannon's mistakes, but about how fast we turn those mistakes into entertainment. As the discussion grew, Chappelle's comments began connecting to a larger cultural theme, the fragility of reputation in the social media era. Shannon Sharpe's situation became the perfect example of how fast a respected legacy can turn into a trending topic for all the wrong reasons. One day, you're a role model, a respected analyst, and a pillar of success. The next, you're a meme, a headline, and a subject of debate. Chappelle's message forced people to confront that uncomfortable reality. Fame no longer protects anyone, it exposes them. In this digital age, perception changes in seconds, and the internet rarely gives room for truth to catch up. Dave highlighted that exact problem during his comments. According to reports, he said something that stuck with many listeners. "We used to wait for facts, now we wait for failure." That one line summarized the modern obsession with downfall. It doesn't matter what the truth is, the spectacle comes first. Fans expect public figures to be flawless, yet they also celebrate their collapse. Chappelle was calling out that contradiction, using Shannon's situation as an example of how social media turns every slip-up into a feeding frenzy. But Chappelle also pointed out the deeper issue, how this public appetite for scandal damages real people. Shannon Sharpe isn't just a celebrity. He's someone who's built a decades-long reputation as a disciplined, hard-working professional. To see that erased overnight by speculation says more about society than it does about him. Chappelle's reflection on this hit hard because it exposed the emotional toll of fame, the loneliness, the paranoia, and the constant fear of one mistake ruining everything. His point wasn't to excuse behavior. It was to remind everyone that behind the headlines, there's a human being. Another angle that caught attention was how Dave tied Shannon's situation to broader themes of masculinity and vulnerability.
Shannon Sharpe tried to make the whole thing go away with $10 million, but y'all, it didn't work. His legal team just confirmed that he offered his accuser at least $10 million during private mediation talks before she hit him with that $50 million sexual law.
He reportedly said, "We tell men not to show weakness, then we crucify them when they break." It's a paradox that hits especially hard in sports and entertainment, industries that demand strength while offering no space for fragility. Shannon Sharpe, known for his confidence and dominance on the field and in media, suddenly became the target of judgment when he showed imperfection. Dave's observation struck a chord because it wasn't just about one man. It was about how society conditions men, especially black men, to carry everything without complaint until the weight breaks them. By the end of his talk, Chappelle had done what only he can do: transform a messy headline into a mirror reflecting cultural truth. He reminded the audience that empathy doesn't mean excusing wrongdoing, and accountability doesn't mean public humiliation. His ability to balance those ideas without picking sides is what made his comments so powerful. He wasn't there to tell people what to think. He was there to make them think. And that's exactly what happened. The internet, for once, didn't just gossip, it reflected. For days, conversations about Shannon's arrest turned into deeper discussions about fame, humanity, and the pressure of public image. And whether fans agreed with Dave or not, they couldn't deny the fact that his words shifted the narrative from scandal to introspection. As more people revisited Dave Chappelle's comments, a new perspective began emerging. Maybe his words weren't just about Shannon Sharpe. Maybe they were about everyone trapped inside the fame machine. The entertainment industry has a pattern of building idols only to watch them fall. From musicians to athletes to comedians, the cycle rarely changes. Success, pressure, scrutiny, collapse, and redemption, if they're lucky enough to get one. Chappelle's take on Shannon's arrest was really an indictment of that system. He was exposing the way the industry profits off the pain of its stars while pretending to care. His message wasn't just aimed at fans, but at the media and corporations that thrive on sensationalism. Dave has always been vocal about this kind of hypocrisy. During past specials, he's called out networks, executives, and even his own audience for valuing drama over understanding. So when he spoke on Shannon's situation, it carried that same energy, frustration with how little has changed. Fame still functions like a trap, and public mistakes are still used as currency. But the difference now is the speed. With social media, the entire downfall happens in real time, often before the truth even surfaces. Chappelle's warning about how fast narratives form was less about Shannon's innocence and more about the danger of judgment without facts. Shannon's case also brought back memories of similar situations, other celebrities who faced legal or public backlash only to be condemned before details emerged. It highlighted the double standard of how society treats certain figures. Some are granted the benefit of the doubt, others are crucified instantly. Chappelle questioned why empathy seems conditional, why some people's mistakes are forgiven while others are weaponized. It was a challenge to the audience, forcing them to ask if their outrage was really about justice or entertainment. What stood out most was how calm and measured Chappelle's tone reportedly was. This wasn't one of his fiery rants. It was reflective, almost mournful. He wasn't defending behavior, he was mourning what fame does to people. The fact that the clip went viral so quickly proved his point. People love the spectacle more than the truth. Even when someone calls for empathy, the world still turns it into content. And that irony, that tragic loop, is what gives Chappelle's commentary its power. For Shannon Sharpe, this moment could end up being a turning point. Public figures often get a second act if they handle their fallout with humility and honesty. And with someone like Chappelle reframing the discussion, it might have given Shannon the space to do just that. Instead of being defined by an arrest, he's now part of a larger conversation about pressure, perception, and redemption. Whether intentional or not, Chappelle gave him a chance to control his narrative again, something rare in today's cancel-first culture. The moment proved something deeper too, that when it comes to culture, one thoughtful voice can overpower 1,000 loud ones. Chappelle didn't need outrage or controversy to dominate headlines, just truth. In the days that followed, Dave Chappelle's comments became more than a viral moment. They became a cultural checkpoint. The entertainment world, always hungry for the next scandal, suddenly paused to reconsider how it treats public figures when they stumble. Shannon Sharpe's arrest might have been the spark, but Chappelle turned it into a lesson about empathy, responsibility, and the high price of fame. His words reminded people that behind every headline is a person, and behind every fall is a story we may never fully understand. Fans began to revisit Shannon's journey, from NFL legend to one of the most respected voices in sports commentary. His rise wasn't built on controversy or shock value, it was built on discipline, intellect, and authenticity. And that's why this entire ordeal hit so hard. People didn't just see another celebrity headline, they saw a symbol of perseverance suddenly dragged through the mud. Chappelle's response helped redirect that energy, encouraging reflection instead of ridicule. In a broader sense, this moment says everything about the state of modern celebrity. The line between public image and personal life has completely disappeared. Every move, every word, every mistake becomes part of the story. And once it's online, it never disappears. Chappelle's warning about that loss of privacy hit home not just for celebrities, but for anyone living in a world where judgment moves faster than truth. His message wasn't just for Shannon, it was for everyone watching, everyone participating in the cycle. What makes Dave's perspective so powerful is that he's lived it. He's been through cancellation, misunderstanding, and misrepresentation, yet he never let the narrative define him. In many ways, his words to Shannon Sharpe were the same lesson he once learned. Don't let the noise drown out your truth. That's the part that resonated most with fans. Because in today's culture, where one rumor can erase decades of hard work, remembering who you are might be the only real defense left. So whether you saw Chappelle's words as defense, critique, or a wake-up call, the impact is undeniable. He took what could have been another disposable scandal and turned it into something meaningful, a reflection on the cost of fame and the need for compassion in an unforgiving world. Shannon Sharpe's story may continue to unfold, but thanks to Dave Chappelle, the conversation around it has already evolved into something bigger. And that's the power of real commentary. It doesn't just talk about people, it talks about us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Celeb Coded for more powerful breakdowns of culture, controversy, and the real stories behind the headlines.